Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling fundamentally misunderstood? Not because of what you said, but because of the sheer weight of it. You offered a piece of your genuine self, an honest thought, a deep passion, and you watched the light in their eyes flicker and die. You felt the temperature drop. You've been told to lighten up, to not be so intense, as if your depth is a social crime you need to stop committing. But what if that is the worst advice you could possibly take? What if the quiet rooms, the averted eyes, and the label of too much are not evidence of a flaw, but markers of a profound psychological achievement? The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned that when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. But he never mentioned what happens after. What happens when, by facing your own darkness, you become the abyss for other people. To a world of curated personalities and convenient truths, your authenticity is a tremor. For those who have refused to confront their own inner darkness, their own Jungian shadow, your very presence is a mirror they are terrified to look into. Their discomfort has nothing to do with you. It is a confession. Today, we decode the subtle evidence, the signs that you possess this unsettling power. And by the end, you will understand that this is not a curse to be managed, but a compass to be trusted. So, how does this mirror actually work? How does your presence force a confrontation? The evidence isn't found in a single event, but in a series of undeniable patterns. We will examine these patterns in clusters, not to label you, but to arm you with the clarity you deserve. The first pattern is what I call the social fracture. This is how your presence breaks the unwritten rules of everyday interaction. The first sign, the void of superficiality. Small talk is not just conversation, it's a social anesthetic. It's the hum of agreement people use to avoid the terrifying silence of authentic contact. Your presence is a counter-frequency. You don't have to say a word. You simply listen, and the energy in the room curdles. Their practiced stories and shallow opinions wither under your silent attention, because you are listening for the meaning underneath the words. As the psychiatrist Viktor Frankl proposed, the primary human drive is the will to meaning. Your soul craves it, and its absence feels like starvation. They don't see you as quiet. They see you as a vacuum where their triviality disappears. The second sign, the gravity of your presence. You present an idea, and you are called too serious. You share an emotion, and you are called too emotional. Have you ever noticed that their solution is always for you to be less? This is because your thoughts and feelings have mass. They have been forged in the fire of self-reflection. When you place them on the table, it makes the table buckle. This gravity is unsettling to those who prefer to exchange feather-light pleasantries. Your substance doesn't just invite them to think, it indirectly demands it. And for many, that silent demand feels like an accusation. The third sign, the great divide. Notice how people react to you. There is rarely a middle ground. They are either intensely drawn to you, or they keep a strange, calculated distance. To a soul who is curious about their own depths, you are a fascinating discovery, a map to a hidden land. But to a soul terrified of what lies within them, you are a danger sign on a locked door. Your very existence is a filter. It doesn't sort people into good and bad, but into the curious and the frightened. This leads us to the next pattern, the unconscious confessional. Your integrated self doesn't just disrupt social norms, it becomes a sanctuary for the hidden truths of others. The fourth sign, the bearer of secrets. A coworker you barely know suddenly tells you about their failing marriage. A stranger in line shares their deepest fear. You have become a keeper of secrets you never asked for. This isn't random. Carl Jung observed that we project our unresolved inner figures onto others. They are not just talking to you, they are talking to the part of you that represents the loving parent, wise guide, or non-judgmental confessor they lack within themselves. Your peace with your own shadow makes you a safe harbor for theirs. The fifth sign, the unmasking. During a simple conversation, you will watch someone's entire posture change. They become defensive, start over-explaining themselves, or fidget uncontrollably. Why? Because your authentic presence shows them the mask they are wearing. They suddenly see how fabricated their own persona is, and like seeing a strange reflection in a shop window, they are momentarily horrified by the stranger they are pretending to be. You haven't judged them. Their own buried self has, and they blame you for the feeling. The sixth sign, the trust of the innocent. This is one of the most beautiful and telling signs. While adults may find you intimidating, you will notice that children and animals are often unusually calm and trusting around you. They do not operate through the layers of ego, social anxiety, and repressed trauma that define most adult interactions. They respond to your core energetic signature, which, having been integrated, is stable, coherent, and safe. Their trust is the purest confirmation of your true nature. The final pattern is what I call the integrity test. This is where your presence becomes a silent standard against which authenticity is measured. The seventh sign, the allergy to bad faith. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre described bad faith as the act of lying to oneself. It's the forced smile, the hollow flattery, the enthusiastic agreement with things one doesn't believe. You feel a visceral, almost physical revulsion to this. It can feel like a profound exhaustion or even nausea in the presence of inauthenticity. This isn't you being judgmental. It's your entire being, aligned with truth, rejecting that which is fundamentally false. The eighth sign, the quiet challenge to hierarchy. Bosses, managers, and other figures of authority often seem unnerved by you, even if you are a model employee. This is because their power is often derived from a title, a position granted by a system. Your power is different. It is intrinsic. It was earned through inner work and cannot be granted or taken away. They sense an authority in you that does not ask for their permission, and this silently invalidates the foundation of their own fragile status. The ninth sign, the scapegoat's burden. Have you ever been cast as the villain in a conflict you barely participated in? In family or workplace drama, you become the one who is difficult, unforgiving, or cold. This is a classic psychological mechanism. A group that is unwilling to face its own dysfunction needs a scapegoat, someone to carry the sins everyone wants to disown. Because you refuse to participate in the collective lie, you are the most convenient person to blame. You are not the source of the darkness. You are simply the one person not pretending it isn't there. And for that, you are punished. Let us be perfectly clear. The discomfort you cause in others is not your responsibility to manage. It is a diagnosis of their condition, not yours. This path of authenticity is not without its price. It will be lonely. There will be moments where you feel like an alien speaking a language no one else has bothered to learn. You will be misunderstood, mislabeled, and at times exiled for refusing to drink the cultural poison of shared denial. Do not mistake this isolation for failure. This is the wilderness you must cross to get to higher ground. Think of it this way. Most of society is a carefully constructed stage play. Everyone has their lines, their costumes, their polite fictions. They have all tacitly agreed to pretend the stage is a real world, and the flimsy backdrops are solid walls. You are the one who walks on stage without a script. You are not there to wreck the play. You are simply living your truth, yet your very presence reveals the painted canvases for what they are. You are a walking, breathing amputation of their comforting illusions. The anger and fear they direct at you, it is the phantom limb pain for the truth they severed from themselves long ago. When they call you intense, what they are really saying is, my mediocrity feels threatened by your depth. When they call you too much, what they mean is, my carefully constructed limits are terrified by your freedom. The burden of being the villain in their story, the scapegoat for their dysfunction, this is the tax you pay for refusing to live a lie. But what you purchase with that tax is invaluable, a soul that is your own. You trade their fleeting comfort for your permanent truth. It is the hardest and most worthwhile trade you will ever make. So what is your work now? Where do you go from here? Your job is not to become softer. It is not to dilute your truth into a more palatable formula. You must not shatter yourself into smaller, more convenient pieces to appease a world that fears wholeness. Your work is to become a more conscious wielder of this power, to understand that your presence is an instrument, and you must learn to play it with intention. It means creating boundaries not to hide yourself, but to protect your energy from those who would drain it. It means choosing your battles, understanding when your mirror is a gift of necessary truth, and when it is being cast before those who only intend to break it. Do not apologize for your depth. Monetize it, build with it, create with it. Let your intensity be the engine of your life, not the brakes. Your unsettling presence is not a social liability. It is a sacred function. In a comatose world, you are a jolt of electricity. You are the question that hangs in the air after every lie is spoken. You gazed into your own abyss, and you did not flinch. You returned carrying a lantern. Let them be unsettled. The ground must be shaken before new things can grow. This conversation is not for everyone. It is for those who are willing to navigate the deep and often turbulent waters of the self. This channel is a lighthouse for those sailors. We are not just exploring ideas, we are forging tools for the journey inward. If these are the waters you travel, then subscribe and join the expedition. Help us keep the light burning. And now, I leave you with a question. In the comments below, describe a time you recognized yourself as the mirror for someone else. Tell us what that moment taught you, not about them, but about the weight and power you carry. Your story is a crucial part of this map. Share it.